Today, I have an inspiring story of service and strength and healing with a very, very powerful woman, retired Senior Master Sergeant June Kelly. Hold on, let me get you live.
Mama June.
All right, you are live on WHCR Radio. Mama June, can you hear us? Can you hear us? All right, I got you live. Can you hear? Tap it in with us.
Yep.
There
Yep.
you are. Mama June, how are you today?
Hey, good.
Amazing hearing your voice.
Live on WHCR Radio. Mama June, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, so I'm very happy to have you on here today because it is Minority Mental Health Month. And, you know, I want to first and foremost thank you for your service. Thank you for joining us today. It's, you know, before we start off, we're going to warm up with some rapid questions. So I'm going to ask you some random questions, this or that. A little icebreaker. I want to get a little bit of your mood and what you like. All right? So you ready to play this game with me? All right. So, ocean waves or waterfalls?
Waterfall,
Meditation or dancing?
dancing,
Sunrise or sunset?
sunset,
Podcast or audiobook?
audiobook,
Beach or forest?
forest,
Spring or fall?
spring,
Early bird or night owl?
night owl,
Action movie or comedy movie?
comedy,
Road trip or staycation?
road trip,
Yoga class or gym workout?
yoga.
All right, there we go. So we just jumped through those mental drills. That's like a boot camp for our mind. Forget them push-ups and them pull-ups and them burpees. We go right into this, though. I do want to cover some of your military experience because I feel like this is an important aspect, especially you being a very powerful black woman in the military. First and foremost, have you been in active war?
Yes, I have. I've been in combat, and it is no joke.
Do you mind elaborating on it? What was that like?
Well, from my position, basically I dealt with a lot of personnel as first sergeant. So my responsibility to take care of everybody on that base, whether it's civilian or military, whatever. And all the training that people get to prepare you for war, those are just drills. The tables change when you're actually like that. You go in, they call it inside the wire. The thing is time. Your timing is off. The days, one day will feel like a week has actually gone by. Things start going fast. Sometimes they start going slow. You get a lot of mental confusion. And a lot of people, what they do is when they come into combat, they're bringing their personal problems with them, whether it's their family, friends, and issues that they have on the base. So here it is. You're bringing the problems with you. You're in a stressful situation, and you're expected to do your job, and people make major mistakes. And those mistakes cost people's lives. And a lot of people, while I was in combat, I had to do suicide training because a lot of people were taking their lives because it was so stressful. And there's no amount of training in the world that can have you handle combat and being in that stressful situation. So very, very, very deep. And people that actually come back home from out of combat, they have mental, PTSD. They have a lot of shell shock. Back in the day, they used to call it. And a lot of people start asking questions, and sometimes people are not able to, the military person is not able to answer it because they're trying to process things. So a lot of things that happen in combat come back home, and a lot of things at home go into combat. So it is a mass confusion.
Wow. So obviously there's a heavy, heavy mental health component that goes into this. And given the times that we're in right now, uncertainty and disruption across the world and problems, in other countries as well, it is paramount to recognize this. And I know that there are a lot of people and a lot of women, more so now than ever, that are considering going into the military or are actively in the military. You are retired now, but you were basically at the highest ranks of the military for your position, right?
Well, not really. As far as I went enlisted, and I didn't make it to the top, and I got an attitude. Okay, the powers that be were against me.
Okay.
However, the highest you can get is an E9. I made it up to E8, and I had to fight for every rank that I got. It was not easy. It wasn't only what they call the good old boy system in the whole entire world, okay? Because it's male dominated, kind of like, us women have to do 10 times as much. However, it's not only because of that mindset, it's also the people of your minority race. It's a lot of other factors in there, especially being a woman. A lot of factors that go into it, and you're dealing with a whole lot of things, and things that you wouldn't even think that you would be dealing with. Not only just the racism, not only the discrimination, but it's that mental, it's the mental health, which is which gets you too. It's just a lot that not only women face, men face it too, but as a woman, you have to always do 10 times as much work in order to get recognized. And every time you turn around, it's like that mistrust. Somebody's back there stabbing you in the back. It's just like corporate. You got to watch your back. However, it is quite a few women in the military and quite a few women is handling their business. So, I got to give everybody there, the women out there in the military, got to give you your prop. People don't understand, but sometimes it's not meant for you to understand. It's meant for you to do and to serve.
I love that. That is absolutely paramount. Sometimes you just got to do it. Don't try to understand it. Just make it work and follow God's will. So there any good words of wisdom that you can give to any young women that are considering military service?
For all of you young women that are out there trying to get into the military, first of all, you need to ask yourself, why do you even want to join in the first place? And don't say service before self, all right? Because that's something that, basically everybody wants to hear. Oh, I want to serve my country. What is your goal? If you do not have a goal, then you are going to get lost. Are you going in because you feel you don't have a choice? You don't want to go to school. You're tired of the school period after you get out of high school. You're like, oh, I got to go back to school. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. What is it that you want to do? What is it where do you want to go? You have to sit down and think, and what are you willing to sacrifice in order to make this work? Because in the military, you have to make some major sacrifices. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, then you're not going to have a good time. You're not going to survive, period. Not going to survive.
And I would like to add to that, too, as a former military wife, Mama June. I think not just thinking about the sacrifices, but on top of that, because you made these sacrifices, now what's your strategy? Not just the end goal, but as you go through, what's your how? So now you know your why, but let's think about the how and how that's going to serve you long term, because the military does come with benefits, but if you don't know what they are or how to use them, it's almost a lost cause for yourself.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. So in the military is definitely a tough thing on mental, but we always got to stay positive.
Yep.
And on that note,
Positivity.
stay positive.
Yes. Oh, you playing my jam. You playing my jam. That's my jam.
don't want to know. You're so tired of complaining, 'cause you're not bothering to working. While your dreams just seem to grow and grow. Nothing's clear, it's so confusing. Intuition's left you, there's no one left to turn to. Until you hear a voice within your heart telling you which way to go. Don't you know? I've got to learn to feed your mind positively. Try and find a way to spend your time with positivity. Spend your days here waiting, and all your nights in the wishing. And seasons come and go.
Yeah, we got to keep positive. WHCR 90.3 FM radio, the voice of Harlem. I am with you, Danny Perrott, known in the streets and in the clinics as the People's Herbalist, here with a special guest in office, Essence. And yes, and we also got retired Senior Master Sergeant Mama June Kelly, talking about mental health for minorities. Man, you know what? I gotta tell you something. I just do not like the idea of minority. The words don't come off my tongue and feel good because it implies we are minor and someone else is major. And what is that, in categorization of women is minor? I don't think so. Categorization of black people is minor or anybody of color is minor? I don't think so. But understanding the categorization of how people are put into these groups, politically incorrect if you ask me, but, if we're going to consider those groups, right? We have you as a black woman, so that means you are a double minor, right? Which is nuts to me.
Don't you love these? I love these names that they be making up, man.
They always got something. But today, we're jumping into these topics of the mental health of our folks, and also the mental health within the military. What is there support from the VA, the Veterans Assistance? Is there support for mental health for VA? How would you describe that assistance that they give?
I would describe that assistance as they do something. All right, we got something going on out there. The VA has a lot of programs that cater to mental health. They got counseling, they have classes, they have activities, and also, along with that counseling, they like to write those prescriptions, get them pills I call them like Tic Tacs, dropping pills. But they're out there. Some of those programs, they will advertise it, and when you actually start to involve yourself, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of hoops and stuff that you have to jump through. And because of budget cuts here and there, you will experience some programs that are no longer available, but they're kind of like, I guess, consolidating them to have something out there. And sometimes it becomes very confusing for the military person, and they're like, look, you're not making this easy, so, forget it. And they'll go into a spiral on you in a heartbeat. Then you're going to have a lot of people calling gatekeeper, because I am a gatekeeper, and that's the hotline that you call for crisis center. And we get a lot of those coming in. And, the system that's supposed to work, it does work, but I think sometimes it causes a lot more confusion, which puts somebody back into a situation where they're going to go postal on you. So it's out there, but sometimes it doesn't work.
I think we also need the information, not just that it exists, but the how again. We need to understand how to use those resources and how to both self-advocate and advocate as a community. We need to understand that there are people out there who can help us through this process, and navigating can be successful if we take the right steps in the right order. for ourselves and our situation, not the steps someone else went through. So, for example, vocational rehabilitation counseling. That's major in the VR, but it is very hard to go through that process successfully and secure, like you said, the services you need or the job you're looking for or whatever transition you need during or after post-military service. But if you have someone with the knowledge and they guide you through that process, we can prevent that spiral you spoke of. We can prevent someone going over the edge or a family losing a family member or having to go through these major adjustments because of that mental health break. Remember, our brain is a muscle. So if we overuse it and we abuse it, it's going to turn on us. It treats us how we treat it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you call yourself the gatekeeper. So you had access to all the resources, and did you feel supported when you came back after your stint? Because you went away to Afghanistan during 9/11. Is this right?
That was Iraq.
Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
That I can talk about because a lot of things can't talk about.
I like, okay. Respectfully. When you came back, did you feel supported? Or did you need to seek outside help of the system? Did you have to do things on your own throughout that process?
Yes, I did. I was the last group to actually go in during the Obama administration when they stated they're pulling out of Iraq. However, half was pulled out of Iraq, just like he stated, but the other half was forward deployed to Afghanistan. Okay? Now, coming back, they started this yellow ribbon program to where you and your family go through a process to where, they're actually bringing you back into regular civilian now, so you can make that adjustment along with your family. And they had just started that program. It was working a little bit, but quite a few people wound up going outside of the military, okay, the VA, in order to get the help that they basically need. Because they have it grouped, you have yourself grouped to where, okay, you dealt with this and these are the stresses that you have to deal with. Yes, that's some of the stresses that you deal with, but everybody is individual and everybody is different. So what's going to work for one person is not going to work for another. Right. So that's that. I call it the juxtaposition. It's it's mishmashed together. There are things out there, but for me, I didn't feel that I was supported. And when I came back, I was in a plane crash, and nobody believed me. Nobody believed me when I said it. And that DC-10 is still on that tarmac at Baltimore Washington International. And they kind of like kept it under covers. You didn't hear anybody talk about it, but I know what happened. And I didn't feel that I got the support. I had one person from the base come and pick me up, where normally you have they send out the cavalry like, hey, our person's coming back. Let's do a big party. No, I did not have that. I participated to where I helped other people come back, help with their families and, but it was not done to me. Am I still bitter? Yes, I am. I'm not going to lie. I'm still bitter. My feelings are still hurt. However, there are other people that are in the same position that dealt with what I did. So we did the best that we could and we found some help.
Wow. So you telling me you was in a plane crash and nobody cared? You came.
They did not believe me because they figured if it's not broadcasted on TV, it did not happen. And I know I was there. I'm looking at all of these cars. I mean, the fire engines, and I'm looking at the tarmac that's got all of these, emergency vehicles. And we, after the third time that we made the circle around the airport, and I didn't hear the engines reverse, I knew there was a problem. And they were there for us. They were preparing for us. And when I mentioned it, nobody, even the person that picked me up, he didn't even know what was going on.
That's incredible. And
yeah.
I just see that as hugely problematic. You have a veteran who is fighting for our country in Iraq that comes back. There's a plane crash. And nobody takes it serious as if this is just something that did not happen, sweeping it right under the rug. which is very, very telling and very unfortunate for so many people. I can just imagine that are not receiving the assistance and support that they're supposed to be receiving for giving their time, effort, energies, and putting their life on the line for our freedoms here in this country. So again, I just got to say thank you for that. And then also, I apologize on behalf of the country that I'm a part of that's not taking care of our people in a way that they should be taken care of. So there's so many levels to dive into that. But I want to see what
I mean, and apologies from the people, because we can create that change. We could have, if we have the information about more of these events, literally just acknowledge and serve those who are serving us. Yes, I understand in this capitalist equation, we are commodities, but those commodities deserve to be honored. And the families who made the sacrifice to support you all deserve to know you matter. That sacrifice mattered. Thank you, and we apologize.
Not a problem. You know what? It's political. Basically, we work on the political system, so it's political. If that particular person, congressman, whoever, happens to be there at a particular time, let's go ahead and make this happen. If not, then a lot of people, a lot of things get shoved underneath the rug, because it's like, they're looking for those accolades, and the ones that shoved underneath the rug as a first sergeant, we're the ones that are going to have to, that's our job, to make sure that, hey, you may have not acknowledged, been, for people from other people, but you are cared about, and this is what we're going to do for you and do for your family. So it's, you do get that help. But sometimes, some people like that little extra pat on the back, not for the people that are familiar with them, for the people that's unfamiliar with them,
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. Man, we are going to share this information, breaking the silence, this stuff shoved under the rug, swept under the bed, trying to be hidden and not being told, and that impacts people's mental health directly by not acknowledging some of the things and not giving the support. So we're here, WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem, sharing those stories as much and as wide as possible. If you are listening to this and you have resonated with any of this information, you can always send a text over to 201-632-3061 and tell your story, because we will highlight your story. We will highlight your life. We will highlight your experience in this community, because it's very, very essential. There's nobody like you. There's nobody that is going through the things that you're going through. There's always ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life. And we want to make sure that we're supporting. We have this hour between 7 and 8 a.m. and we are going to talk about the important topics of health and wellness. And mental health is at the top of that list. And I'm just so happy to say that we got a radio show.
Yes.
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 Amen. It's happening. It's happening.
It is happening. And we have a lot of holistic knowledge outside of just mental health. We obviously, y'all know me, the people's herbalist. I'm going to be talking about some herbs, some adaptogens, some stress relieving, and some immune enhancing herbs, and we'll jump into that in a second. But I just got to tell you, Mama June, ain't nobody like you.
No, sir. No, ma'am.
Thank you. I got the love from my family and friends and support. I'm good now.
Oh, yeah.
Captured effortlessly. That's the
Oh, yeah. All right, so we back at it with you. 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem, WHCR Radio. I am joined again by retired Senior Master Sergeant June Kelly. And in the studio today with me, I got Essence. We are diving back into minority mental health. I just every time I say it,
It just feels wrong.
It just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't flow off the tongue.
It doesn't. I say in jest, but Mama June is a double minor, African American and women's studies. But yeah, speaking of studies, right? You are one of the most degreed up persons that I know.
My idol.
Can you talk about some of these degrees that you got?
I have like 10. She has like 25.
I have to let me apologize first of all. I need to apologize for all the ones that got to a position to where you had to start paying a college student loan, okay, before you left college. Back in the day, we did not have to pay back any college loans until we left school, okay? So I became a professional student. Fine arts, dance and theater, communications.
Let that system work for
services.
you.
Business management, hotel restaurant management, and again, I have to stick with that human resources, man. Yeah, I did it. I stayed in school. I got all the education, and it's like those degrees. Yeah, you hand them out like like you're playing cards. But I was always the type that was interested in something. And if I'm interested in something, I'm going to learn about it, and I'm going to get a job in it, so that will make me feel like a better person. That's what the challenge was. And a lot of the times, it was like, you can't do it. When you tell me you can't do anything, you know what I'm going to do.
Off to the races. Watch her. Watch her get it done, and get it done with quality.
Oh, yeah. So I'm assuming that there was a lot of limitations, limited beliefs that were placed upon you in all these different endeavors and in these different fields that you have been a part of. Can you what are some of these glass ceilings that you broke through? I know you've had a lot of different career paths. Let's talk about some of the things that you've endured and gotten past and achieved.
That self-mastery in spite of.
Yeah, what brought me in, that's what brought me into the military. It was, I transferred, I came to South Carolina, and I was working, picked my job, okay. And it wasn't enough money for me. So I was like, I want to make some more money, and I was in law enforcement. Law enforcement, you cannot have a second job unless you came to law enforcement with a second job. They had businesses, farms, whatever. So the only thing that I can think of, every time I tried to get a second job to make some more money, they kept, putting the doors up. No, you can't do that, can't do that. So that's what made me go into the military. I was like, I'm going to go in the military because y'all are going to keep my job. You're going to pay me while I'm going through my training. And when I come back, I'm going to get me a job. And that's what set my military career. And anything else after that, it's like, look, you can't do it. Guess what? I'm getting ready to do it. And as a matter of fact, you're going out of your way to stop me, even with, even in the military itself. It's like, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. Guess what? I'm getting ready to do it anyway. There's nothing that you can tell me that I cannot do. All right? You're trying to box me in. And all the jobs that I've had, from armored car, I was driving an armored car. Why did I drive the armored car? Because I wanted to see how it felt to drive one of those big trucks that handle money, okay? Even law enforcement, I wanted to see how it felt to carry a weapon and to get trained. Even culinary arts, being a chef, the restaurant business. I wanted to open up a restaurant. Let me work in there to see what's required of me. When I started working in a restaurant, I realized I don't want to do it. I like working in a restaurant, but I don't want to open up the business and doing it because it's too much liability. and working with people in human resources. Loved it, loved it. So it's like I got a little bit of everything, and I ignored a lot of stuff that people talked about. I really did. I ignored it. I was like, you can say whatever you want to, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go forward, and it's because of my belief, and it's because of my endurance, which had me be successful in the things that we do. I did, and especially, the love and the support I got from my family. So I had a lot of, you got a lot of haters and stuff out there, but if you're focused, it's going to drop off, and I just totally ignored it.
What would you say was the most fulfilling cutting the red tape experience? Like, I'm going to get around this no matter what, and when you finally got to the pinnacle, it just felt like one of the best accomplishments you could have.
When I became a first sergeant at my military base, I was deployed, and I had a lot of haters out there that did not even want me in my position. And again, what I did while I was deployed, there was someone, and I'm going to mention his name, Chief Moore. He was the one that
Call him
stayed
out.
in contact with me in headquarters, and he got my paperwork in, and I became a first sergeant. Even though nobody wanted me in that position, I became that first sergeant. So that was a clear store that I broke.
Nice.
Preach.
Shout out to Chief Moore
Yes.
for not allowing the nonsense to take place and recognizing merit and bringing you to
Amen.
the position that you deserve.
Absolutely. Honored your value. There we go.
Oh, man. You sound like you
Yes.
about this paper,
And
too.
we
I'm
got
not going to lie.
and I need another one. I need to do another shout out to General Mays, Yvonne Mays. She's in charge of the New Jersey National Guard. She was very instrumental in my success. Shout out to the first African American general, New Jersey.
Incredible.
Oh, we might have to get General Mays up here one of these days.
Oh yeah, he's next.
Okay.
You hear that, General Mays?
General, we're on the way to you.
We'd love to hear that story.
And like Danny said, you're about your paper. It didn't seem like these were just shooting from the hip moments. These were strategic steps you took to ensure not just self-mastery, but it built you in the end as well. It served you more than
and
you
what
served.
it made me realize how people are and who's in your corner and who is not. And there's a lot of times that, and I know, not only military women in general, you suffer in silence. You suffer in silence because there's so much that you want to do, and you have so many adversaries out there, and you want to do so much, but you have so much of the negativity out there. You got to stay focused. You have to push that to the side and stay focused. That's what led me into Reiki. Reiki saved my life. If it wasn't for me studying, and that was like kind of like, it's not a degree, but my last thing was Reiki. Once I became involved in Reiki, and it changed my life. It made me a better person. And anybody out there, if you're struggling and you don't want to reach out, I go on the internet to YouTube, look up Reiki, start doing Reiki. Study it on your own if you don't have the money, but it's going to ground you and your life is going to change.
Or you can come to the People's Herbalist. We also offer Reiki. I'm a Reiki master.
Absolutely.
And pretty soon we may start some workshops, and free ones, maybe through some Max Philanthropies workshops. We'll do some free Reiki for sure. I'm glad you brought that up. And another thing you brought up, when people hold all of these experiences in and it has no place to go, it's the law of energy. It can't be created nor destroyed. It can only transfer or transform. But when it becomes trapped, it's still...
It has these implications,
right,
physical,
and it builds up.
It builds
and it
on
turns
your body.
into illness. It's dis-ease.
Absolutely.
It's the lack of ease. It's not your body's not at ease. And all of these issues, starting where the head goes, the body follows. It begins with the mind, and it starts traveling through the brain and then the rest of the body. And wherever that energy center is trapped is where that disease is going to form. And I want to say 9 times out of 10, it's usually in the intestines and makes its way and festers and goes all the way out. So we need, again, with Reiki, it helps that energy, the trapped energy, just be released, and it helps the body flow in unison, in harmony.
Right. And you know what? For some people that may not know exactly what Reiki is, let's give a brief synopsis of what this practice is. It is energy. It is the acknowledgement and the utilization of universal energy flowing from a person to help another person. It's not created by the person. It is recycled ethereal energy that is always everywhere, and we have the ability to recognize, tap in, and kind of help the movement of this, to help our bodies. And a lot of people just don't recognize the energetic component of our health, which is very unfortunate. And as the people's herbalist, I got to focus on the people. Holistic health and herbs and the biochemical and physical aspects of herbs are very important, but if we do not take into the account, and this goes for anybody in holistic health, anybody in the herbal sciences, anybody in the physical or the traditional healthcare system, we have to recognize how important energy is when it comes to all parts of wellness, mental health, physical health, everything. So understanding that Reiki, which is just a word that just talks about using energy to help people's energy, like physically helping people through energetic means. And you guys have this experience using Reiki, and I don't want to take up this whole episode because I feel like we could have a full hour-long conversation of Reiki. But please give some of your experiences using Reiki. I would love to hear.
And before we do, I just want to touch on what you said. In this world, everything has a frequency. Down to every germ, parasite, disease, it all has its own frequency. Just as every plant, every botanical component has its own property. So, what did Tesla say? If you want to figure out the world, think in terms of energy and frequency. We can use these plants that vibrate at a certain hertz in a disease that vibrates at a certain hertz and have the plants balance it out. The body is self-healing. It is a system. So that Reiki energy, the plant energy, and then the Reiki energy that we are using to just help move and cycle the energy through the body in a way that is adaptable, right? We need to do it because it's not aggressive. It's not this aggressive energy channeling at all. It's a very smooth, harmonious movement
that can be incorporated with anything.
Right.
Any type of healing modality.
You can give your water Reiki. Water has its own vibration.
And your dog. You give your dog Reiki.
Right. And I've seen it. I've used it on my dog. But I've seen it in a scientific study even help other animals. But back to Mama June's experience, would you mind giving us an example of, or a few examples of how Reiki has changed your life? Like you said, it provided this transformation for you.
Yeah, what it did was, first of all, it's settling. You have to settle. You have to settle your mind. A lot of times, your body gets tired. Your body will drop, but your mind will keep going. And what Reiki did is it forced me to take that inhale and then breathe out, and to settle mentally, actually settle mentally, because a lot of times we don't, and you don't know how to do it. And I'm still learning because I'm, level 1. I'm glad you're around, Exodus, because you're the master. You're going to be helping me too. But what it did is it forced me to sit there and just be still. You got to be still. That's the first thing. You got to be still. And to really let my body relax, especially within grounding. I don't think too much about it. I used to like to walk around barefooted anyway, but it's like walking barefooted on the ground. That helps to energize your body. That's what Reiki started making me look at certain things differently. And I actually got to the point now to where I can see people's auras. I can see auras on the trees. I could see people's auras, like, what you call a halo. I could actually see it. And I was like, wow. I was under the impression, being in a Christian environment that, that Reiki is some witchcraft. You can't be doing that. But I learned it is not. this is the way of life. And it changed my life. And I talk about it and I tell people, y'all, you need to get some Reiki. You need to make sure you watch your diet. You need to put the herbs into your system. And those lady blends, don't play with the People's Herbalist Ladies Blend, because that helped to calm my mood. Thank you very much, People's Herbalist, for making that blend up.
Of
But
course.
Reiki is my life now.
Danny's out here creating babies.
I love it. I
Those
love it. Yeah, man. There's herbs for everybody. And I say everybody, I mean everybody, everybody.
How you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up. Tell me. How you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? You won't belong to me, I let you down. I walk around and see your night skyline. I feel the light, but you don't want to stay. So lonely now, just let me off the top. Set us
We celebrating a beautiful day, July 9th. It's toasty. But we here at WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. I am your host, Danny Perrott, known in the streets and in the clinics as the People's Herbalist, joined here today with Essence and Mama June. And we were just talking about some mental health in the military, but now we want to talk more on, we was talking about Reiki as well, energy healing, but I want to talk a little bit about some herbs today. So, you know, people always ask me what my favorite herb is. And I'm like, yo, that's like asking your grandma who her favorite grandbaby is. You know, that's just not right. It depends on the day. Depends on how they acting, right? But I definitely have a top three in the category of adaptogenic herbs, and that's my specialty for stress relief, for immune enhancement. ThePeoplesHerbalist.com, you can find more information about the herbs and about what we do. But talking about one of these herbs that is actually not a traditional Chinese herb, because I usually focus on the Ayurvedic and the traditional Chinese herb and the historically or ancestrally relevant herbs that have been used for many, many, many years with a lot of documentation. But one of the herbs is a Chinese herb, and it's called jiaogulin, or the botanical name is Gynostemma pentaphyllum. Say that 5 times fast, right? Gynostemma pentaphyllum. It's a 5 leaves, so pentaphyllum leaves. Gynostemma is just an herb in China. And they found this back in the 70s. So in the 70s, the Chinese Census Bureau did an investigation on a province of people that were living well into their hundreds, you know, in good health. And obviously the culture, and they were living in a rural area. I mean, that was kind of the acceptance. It's like, all right, well, they just live longer because they don't have as much stress as our city folks, and they're in the hills. But when they went and did a deeper investigation, the people of that province was pointing at a viney overgrowth. And they said that they drink this tea every single day. And it grows abundantly. It's a vine. It's almost like a weed in many instances on how fast it can grow. But when they did the chemical analysis on the jiaogulin, they found out that this plant had molecules that were very similar to ginseng, which everybody knows. In fact, they called it the southern ginseng. But it had 10 times as many of these molecules. Not as stimulating as the normal ginseng, but the molecules are very similar and had way more different effects and benefits on the human body. Come to find out, it helped with cholesterol levels, it helped with blood sugar regulation, it helped with immune balancing, it helped with brain health. And now, after the 70s, now, when people find something, they want to try to claim it as their own. So there's a lot of research that's going into this, trying to isolate some of the molecules, but they can't do that with this herb. There's just the symphony effect of all these different unique molecules make this very useful for stress support and metabolic health in general, which is a huge problem within our society. And I use this herb in case studies for type 2 diabetes. Mind you, let me tell you right now, this is not a conversation diagnosing, treating, or curing anything. I'm talking about a case study that I had done for research and development. We don't make any medical claims here, all right? Just remember that. But I want to talk about this plant because it is something that it can be grown pretty much anywhere as long as there's humidity. And Mama June, I think you got some experience with this thing, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. I've got Jalgulin growing around my porch, the front, also the back. 5 leaves, and it does look, it is a vining, and it looks like a weed, because most people think it's actually a weed, but it is not. It flowers, and when it flowers, they're teeny little itty-bitty, like white seeds that drop on the ground that, that I noticed. And it comes back every year. When it first came, I was like, oh my goodness, I used the app and I found it. I said, ooh, I got me some Jalgulin growing here. This is excellent. And I started harvesting it, and I noticed the next year it came back, and it came back more and more. And it's the real deal. People will look at it as a weed, and they like to put weed killer on it. And I keep telling them, look, this is the real deal. This is Jalgulin. This helps. So, yes, it grows. And I got some harvesting right now.
Yep. Sometimes they look at it like a weed, just like dandelion. But Jalgulin, it has such high ORAC value, which is pretty much the antioxidant properties. It is a super herb, as the trenders like to call it. And not just that, I think, don't they call it the immortality herb?
Yeah, the herb
as well?
immortality.
Yeah, so it literally gives you so much life. It's so versatile. And it pairs well with, I want to say, almost anything.
Yeah.
Jalgulin is very...
It's subtle. It's good for generally all ages. The one thing that I will say is a caveat, because they have done research with mice, giving them a very, very large amount of Jalgulin. Pregnant mice given a very high amount of Jalgulin, it showed abortive tendencies. So if you are pregnant and you've never taken Jalgulin before, steer on the side of caution. However, historically, with human beings, there has not been any of those issues. But I do have to say that, as this is what one of the research articles has shown.
And we're always going to inform you.
We will keep it honest with you. We're going to keep it real here on People's Healing Hour. But Jalgulin is notoriously difficult to grow from seed, is what I've been hearing. But as soon as it grows, once you get a line, you get a vine, you can't get rid of it. But it's a beautiful, it can be a house plant too. Just think about one of those, those hanging ivies. It kind of grows similar like that. Imagine you have that growing in your house, and you can just pick it off, throw it in some hot water, and look at that. You got a tea.
So apartment people, no excuses. You can have it growing in a mason jar.
You got action.
And it's beautiful. So it heals you, and it looks pretty.
And it's very hardy. Yep. You have experience growing that thing, Mama June?
Yes, because what I did was, and I'm doing it now because growing outside is not a problem. But what I did was, I took a pot and I just pushed some of the vines in it while it was outside and waited till it started growing, and then I clipped and I took the whole pot and brought it inside. It's got to have you. It definitely does need some type of sunlight when you bring it inside. So have a grow light, to help with it. But yeah, that thing, it keeps giving and giving and giving, and I keep taking and giving thanks.
I love it. And yeah, that's all we could do. Nature provides, God provides. We take, we utilize, we give thanks, and here on the People's Healing Hour, we always show reverence and appreciation for the plants and for all the tools that are available to us. There's a lot of prayer that goes into everything that we do, from putting together herbal packages to customized protocols, from being in direct contact with the farm and the soil where the herbs are coming from the formulation process to connecting directly with people in the farmers markets that we're at, or the pop-up events, or the wellness studios, or the different relationships that we're building through our endeavors. It is always a beautiful thing to bring the herbal sciences directly to the masses and increase the common knowledge about what nature has to provide for us and what we can do with these tools. And oh my gosh, I cannot believe it is almost 8 o'clock. And out of respect the time, man, I want to keep going.
Wow.
But we do invite you to join.
Keep talking. Come on, let's keep talking.
One thing we are starting to offer is our professional learning and wellness community. So we're going to start inviting you all to join to get more information, resources, and have these extended chats just ongoing with our community members.
Absolutely.
So.
And you can tap in with us at thepeoplesherbalist.com, where you can find more information and find out where we're going to be. For example, I will today actually, later, I will be in Weehawken, New Jersey at the Weehawken Farmers Market. So if y'all are out and about in the Jersey area, you can come pull up on me. I got a sample of some herbal goodies for you. We can have a nice conversation, and also, there's always room to build on some one-on-one protocols or anything. There's always somebody that can utilize something to help their health and wellness. And on that note, I definitely want to highlight my friend, my fraternity brother, Tim Pitts, who is currently dealing with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And I will talk about this a little more next week, but I definitely wanted to highlight prayers for Tim, because he has decided not to go the chemotherapy route because it was very, very damaging to him, and he is utilizing prayer, nature, and intention. And I want to bring as much awareness to his situation, because this is a collective movement of our abilities to use our minds to visualize his healing. So keep that in the back of your mind. Keep Tim in your prayers, and also keep all the people that have been suffering and have lost their lives to this crazy weather over the last couple of days and a couple of weeks. We send our prayers and condolences to the families that have lost loved ones, and the tragedy and everything that's going on down there. So I definitely want to send those prayers out while we still got some airtime. But
shout out to Kappa Tim. And then I also, like Danny is saying, the weather has been intense around the country. But to our tri-state area people, please do not play with this heat and humidity. It is dangerous.
Yep.
It's been a lot of heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and people don't know the signs and symptoms. If you are nauseous, headache, even if it's a stomach ache and you don't know why, that is one of the minor but very serious symptoms of heat exhaustion. If it's anything off kilter, go get checked out. Go to urgent care ASAP.
And stay hydrated.
Yes, coconut water. If you don't like coconut water, just hold your breath and chug it. I'm sorry. It will provide you with all the natural electrolytes you need. Go get a coconut and break that open.
And get some nettle tea, too.
Yes.
There we go. But yeah, I want to thank you guys. Mama June, thank you so much for joining us today. Family, a big thanks to Essence for being in the studio with me.
Peace,
we're going to talk more about
Doula.
this. Yeah.
Essence, thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all, man.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And this is not going to be the last time. We're going to get you back on here very soon. Very soon.
Yes, with the major.
Heck yeah.
All right, all right.
We gotta go. But gotta rock out with some barbecue music.